Recognition of who we are and the powers inherent in our beingness come from our beloved Creator of all that is. This we must remember at all times throughout our weeks and throughout our days. Why, one may ask? Because we are significantly more powerful than we remember or often acknowledge. As humankind, we were invested with tremendous powers, and sadly, we have been programmed to think much less of ourselves, to consider ourselves meek, shameful, compliant, and dependent on a system, as slaves. Creator endowed us with tremendous capabilities, with free will and an opportunity to self-correct where there has been error. In truth, when we recognize our strength coupled with humility, this is the moment we truly recognize our sovereignty, our dignity, and the gifts we have been given by Creator to use for the highest good. Let it be so, and so it is.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jure Assembly. This is an audio of an email that I sent today, and I want to get it on the internet and on our website as soon as I can. 2. The United States Marine Corps enlisted an officer ranks and files with a proper oath and Mark Romano, May 24th, 2024. Mark Romano is the civilian counsel for the office of Commandant of the Marine Corps, which is Eric Smith, General Eric M. Smith. Anyhow, and it's from Ron Vroman. And one must honor their contracts. The U.S. Marine Corps has an oath all the way back to 1775 on the land and soil jurisdiction, the common laws of nature and of nature's God, on, for, by, from, with, of, those with original jurisdiction of the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, comma, 1776, semicolon, 1777, the Confederation and Perpetual Unions, apostrophe S, the United States of America's, apostrophe S, and Oregon's, apostrophe S, constitutions, circa 1859, that include Amendment 13, anti-TONA. Fraud vitiates all contracts, partially or completely. The federal incorporated governance of the United States of Washington District of Columbia is de facto. See Black's Law, 6th edition, page 416. Not the de jure United States, and it dates from March 1861, period. The martial law of the Lieber Code and the U.S. Army, and is still in effect as of 2018 U.S. Army Martial Law Update. That is federal, and that is de facto, an entity, and we are no longer deceived. Oregon Statewide General Assembly, aka Article 1, Section 1, the provisional government on Oregon without rebut, signed, sealed, stamped, witnessed, and published at www.orsja.org. Precedent, that which came before, the dissolution for the second time. Rhode Island and Providence Plantation was the first in 1789. and the Confederation and Perpetual Union. Then South Carolina seceded on 24 December 1860 from the Perpetual Union, and it was broken, hence color of law. Then our Congress assembled, closed, sine die, March 1861. The lawful iteration of the United States of America's Constitution is February 1859. In the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1859, it tells us that the contracts of, for, by, and from the Confederation and Perpetual Union's articles will be honored. Oregon is one of the several states and a party to that contract. The U.S. Marine Corps has an oath that covers enemies from within to Oregon, the state among the several states. We have traced our provenance without rebuttal continuously for 6 years. Here it is again. Oregon, the state's de jure provisional government since November 2022, needs assistance against the enemies from within located in Salem, the de facto oligarchy, a subdivision of the United States of Washington District of Columbia in some de facto form. That is not Article 4, Section 4, a constitutional Republican form of government. The de facto Article 7 amended are well ensconced since 1910. They have also been convicted by our Article 3, Amendment 7 Civilian Common Law Court of Record, having implemented ex parte Milligan and nullified martial law / Lieber Code / FEMA on Oregon. There is no lawful federal fort, port, or needful building on Oregon, nor in the state of Oregon. And that's signed, sealed, stamped, witness, proof of service, and published at www.orsja.org. And I did that, and I followed that up with living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth, and you can read that here. I asked William if he'd show a copy of the script completely as I sent it to them. And every word that we write in this part that's in blue is a fact. It's an affidavit of truth. And down here at the bottom, you see this little //s//. Several years ago, they told me at the Marine Corps headquarters on the telephone when I said I wanted to fax it because I would have a copy and I can sign a fax and send it. And she says, if you put //s// on the bottom, we'll accept it as signed. So this page is accepted as signed. And I yield. Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I have a lecture here, not very long. A lecture on de facto and de jure as juxtaposed to perception and perspective, and good and bad as juxtaposed to evil and satanic. Or is 333 just half bad, whereas 666 is satanic? Our de jure Constitution, 1859, on Oregon, as juxtaposed to the de facto constitutions that include Article 7 amended and exclude Amendment 13, anti-title of nobility. Then, as to being de facto and not de jure, read Black's Law, page 416, 6th edition. In fact, indeed, actually, this phrase is used to characterize an officer, a government, a past action, or a state of affairs which must be accepted for all practical purposes, comma, but is illegal or illegitimate. Thus, an office, position, or status existing under a claim or color of law, such as a de facto corporation. In this sense, it is the contrary to de jure, which is rightful, legitimate, just, or constitutional. Thus, an office, a king, or government de facto is the one who is in the actual possession of the office of supreme power but by usurpation or without lawful title, while an officer, king, or governor de jure is the one who has just claim and rightful title. There is nothing that can be saved from the de facto. You cannot take a proper oath to the proper constitutions with the laws of nature and nature's God included when there is still deception in the oath. We know the exact time when Oregon flipped from de jure into, from de jure, which is lawful, and de jure and constitutional, into this current iteration of de facto. It has moved from a benevolent form of martial law that Oregon succumbed to with Article 7 amended, November 8th, 1910, into this current iteration. We have ex-Governor Kate Brown, Senators Wyden and Merkley, Representative Bonamici, all with guilty verdicts of not fit for positions of trust. The current governor and 88 other former legislators are with guilty verdicts and unfit for positions of trust. The entire judiciary has acquiesced to. They have no proper court, nor do they have a proper oath. So, how do you deal with this? That's what we're working on at the Oregon Statewide Jure Assembly. We think the way to do this is to negate, nullify, legitimately and lawfully do away with the de facto. When you do away with the de facto portion of the Oregon Secretary of State's office, you do away with the Secretary of State and all those that were appointed to that position. But all the people that work there and actually do the business for the office of Secretary of State, they're still there. They have to recognize the difference between the incorporated governance that has been illegitimately in place, that they have been working for, that it is all bogus and has been, color law, play pretend, illegitimate and illegal for 113 years. And fraud vitiates all contracts either completely or partially. All those persons, such as Secretary of State and Deputy Secretaries of State, that have an oath need to take a proper oath. If they take a proper oath to the proper Constitution, with the laws of nature and nature's God included, then they can proceed to govern the office of the Secretary of State from a de jure point of view, not from the point of view of business and commerce and trying to make a profit from the office of Secretary of State. That's not what government's for. Then you move over to the Department of Transportation and do the same thing. The people that work at ODOT and snowplow the roads and first responders, they're not in that group that is running the de facto government. Those people are appointed and have an improper oath to an improper constitution. De facto, they have to leave. The entire Oregon State Bar is a pseudo division of the state of Oregon's governance. It's illegal and illegitimate. It's de facto. It has to leave. All of this stuff that is illegal and illegitimate must go. All those that aren't stay, and we'll work this out. It has to be done. You can't go on taking a false oath. And you definitely can't take a false oath knowing it's a false oath and include God. Just isn't going to work. So, the juxtaposition, it's going to be really difficult. And that's it. It's just going to be difficult. And we have to do it. And those that say they are a sheriff and say they are a deputy sheriff, well, then they're going to have to do the work. They're going to actually have to take a proper oath and do the work or get the hell out. That's just all there is to it. We are no longer deceived. We're no longer deceived by Matthew Deedy nor Frank Benson. And I yield. Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jure Assembly. This is to the Marine Corps. Hello, Marines. I was told today the Marines take their orders from the commander-in-chief, not you. And I thought, whoa, okay. Um, the Marines do take their orders, I would assume, from the commander-in-chief and probably a whole lot of other commanders, command Marines. When I was in the Navy, I know that those Marines aboard ship answered to the captain. So, and he was a sailor. So, how do the Marines get their provenance? This is what I came to. The Marine Corps is 1775. It was invented by the states of the Americas, and there was 13 of them. And they had been banded together for quite a while, and they needed a Navy and they needed Marines. So they invented them. And that is who actually tells the Marines what to do. They are the creator. So the several states created the Marines. The Marines are 1775, and the several states uh, oh, come on, brain, created them. So the provenance goes to the several states. So how does a state become one of the several states? There are 33 several states. Oregon is the last several state, and it's a nation, and it has its own constitution. And its own constitution is in harmony with the constitution that the Marine Corps pays homage to. That's probably it. So the commandant of the Marine Corps should be more than willing at any time to speak to the head of state from any one of the several states. Seems reasonable, don't you think? I'm sure if a general or somebody that he went to military school with called up and said he needed some help, commandant had probably listened to that person. Well, the head of state for Oregon, one of the several states, has requested politely, I know her. First Amendment. And it's on his desk, was delivered properly. So when you look at who is in the pecking order, Oregon's in there. I yield. Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. This is a remonstrance to a Marine. I had a full bird colonel that I have spoken to in the past, and he knew our mission. We are the constitutional provisional government on Oregon, one of the several states that owns the United States of America's apostrophe S Constitution. You know, the one you took an oath to uphold and defend, that one. I asked him, do you get my email? He said, no, it goes straight to junk mail. So, I'm an envoy from the provisional government on Oregon, and you divert my communique to junk mail without a look. I see. I claim that is contempt of common law, as in our Article 3, one Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction found in Amendment 7, Civilian Common Law Court of Record, whose jury verdict has no appeal in fact, aka the provisional government on Oregon, aka our Oregon statewide Jural Assembly as of November 2022. Signed, sealed, stamped, witness, proof of service, published at www.orsja.org. I have gathered pages of names and phone numbers of Marines, even a few civilians. I trust no civilian's oath without proof. I'll take a Marine's word. Well over 100 Marines, never counted them. Many have left since I first started looking for who has the billet for enemies from within. That was 6 years ago. I limit my number of Marines I email. I know the code, no spam emails, and I use an encrypted provider, and I publish through Oregon statewide Jural Assembly on the internet, cable TV, and our website, www.orsja.org. I take it as an affront, as I am a representative beneficiary of/2/4 the United States of America's apostrophe S Constitution circa 1859 and a party to Oregon's apostrophe S Constitution circa 1859, one of the several states, a sovereign man on Oregon of the nation state, numbered 33, with all of my unalienable rights. And I yield.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.